Pleased to be joined now by NFL analyst Mike Golic, who is also a volunteer board member for USA Football. He's on the board of directors there. And Mike, first of all, thanks for joining us. Second, it looks like USA Football is hosting a free Blitz event at Highmark Stadium this Sunday here in Orchard Park in partnership with the Bills. Sounds like a lot of fun. I know it's free. What's going to be happening there?
Well, yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me, guys. And it's so listen, I understand seeing Steve in the Bills highlights. I mean, what should be a Hall of Fame guy, special teamer. I'm used to seeing him in that Houston Oiler, outfit when we were teammates way back when.
It was a lifetime ago.
Yes. You know what? It has been a lifetime ago. So much so that we're both put our readers on when we need to look at something. Our hair is graying, the whole deal. It's a little. People always say, Would you like to go back on the field now? I said, I go back on the field. I give you two plays. The first place I'd get hurt. The second play I'd get destroyed and carried off the field. But yeah, I would do it anyway. Just for that. That's why I'd rather be involved in youth football now. And you're right. USA Football is having the Blitz. They do them all around the country, as you mentioned, at Highmark Stadium. This one, it's a free day for youth football athletes and their families, youth football kind of clinics, yard games, giveaways, other great activities. You can find all the info at usafootball.com. There's so much great information there. But, I mean, USA Football is – listen, we all know. I mean, I'm sure, Steve, you played Little League football. I played Little League football. Every guy in the NFL played Little League football. So, we need to make sure that it's still a viable way for kids to learn the game of football. And USA Football has done a great job in kind of tweaking what's going on. We don't need the ridiculous Oklahoma drills to find out if we have a tough 10-year-old anymore. We need to learn proper technique. Needs to be less hitting during the week while they're learning that. We go from not just flag football to tackle, but we have in between with tackle bar football, limited pads, limited contact. So you can put your child, your son or daughter, in one of the systems that will fit them best as they're growing. So that's helped a lot. And the most important thing is they certify all their coaches, because this doesn't work without the coaches' buy-in, and not having kind of that mentality that we had decades ago and bringing it into the now of how to coach football, how to coach hitting, how to coach tackling. You got to have the coaches buying in to it. And they've certified over 100,000 coaches. So again, with that website, you could find a league around you that is USA Football and certifies their coaches. But these blitzes are great. Just great chance for the kids to go out and have fun, families to go hang out and see what's going on. So they're a good time.
Yeah, there's a few areas openings as well. The 10 to 14-year-old clinics, also a Special Olympics clinic, as well as girls, middle school, high school clinics. But it's not limitless. It's free, but it's not limitless, right? I mean, there's only a few spaces remaining.
Yeah, listen, they're going to take as many as they possibly can. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Like I said, these have been all over the country, especially in the NFL cities. The teams get very involved in these, and that's so great to see as well. So the kids will see, whether it's in Kansas City or Buffalo or Cleveland or wherever, they see, mascots from those NFL teams or cheerleaders, kind of gets them all going, saying, that's we all had that dream when we were a kid, right? Hitting a home run in the backyard or scoring that winning touchdown, or for me, occasionally getting a sack, for you being a gunner, I guess, running down on punts or catching a touchdown pass, whatever it was. So, you get to kind of see the people that are involved in it and live it a little bit.
All right, so for more information, you can go to usafootball.com/events to get more information on the exact event happening here in Buffalo on Sunday, June 26th. Moving on to the Bills here a little bit, Mike, you were part of an Eagles team that had high expectations. Steve obviously was part of a Bills team that had high expectations. The 2022 Bills have those same high expectations. How do you handle that stuff as a player, as a team, going out on the field every week?
Well, I mean, they haven't gotten there yet, right? I mean, They have the high expectations and they haven't paid off. My years in Philly, we had the top defense for a number of years. I mean, we all know with Josh Allen what this offense is doing, but this Bills defense has been excellent under Leslie Frazier as well. And whenever I was doing my shows and people would say, what were the great defenses of all time? And I would mention some and they would say, well, why don't you mention yours in Philly? And ours were great. Listen, I mean, when you have the likes of Reggie White and Jerome Brown, Clyde Simmons, Seth Joyner, Eric Allen, they were great defenses, but we never cashed in, right? We never closed the deal like the 85 Bears defense, the 2000 Ravens, the Buccaneers, in the early 2000s when they had those great defenses. Well, that's the thought process, I think, for the players when they go on the field is we haven't closed the deal yet. We haven't won it all. We feel we're good enough to win it all, but we haven't done it. So as good as we think we are, we haven't reached the ultimate, level and raised, the trophy, with all zeros on the clock at the end of the Super Bowl. So that's why it's so difficult to repeat. And we haven't had one since the early 2000 Patriots. Not to say that you get complacent, but man, when you're clawing to get to the top of the mountain, you're clawing hard. When you reach the top of the mountain, then trying to do it the next year, it's hard to do, number one, because there are a lot of good teams in the NFL, but all of a sudden you're not clawing anymore. And you have to kind of reinvent a way or reinvent a chip on your shoulder to be the best team again, because you were that previous year. Well, Buffalo is still striving for that.
Yeah, and being a former defensive lineman, you've probably seen how tough it is or how easy it is or what it takes to have a bunch of new guys integrate into that room. The single, the position, D-line position group, defensive ends, defensive tackles. The Bills have brought back Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson. They've added Tim Settle. They've added Daquan Jones into a room that already has Ed Oliver, A.J. Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham, and there's this other guy too, Von Miller. Yeah, they added him too, right? Yeah. So a lot of those guys are new, but they do have some chops. And of course Von is a star. How do you think that transition goes? What's it take for those guys to come together, play well? You know what I mean? What's it going to take for them to come together?
So one of the biggest differences of like O-line, D-line is O-line, those five normally play every single play, right? Those five O-linemen, and they have to work the best together out of everybody because they're out there in step together. But you're not rotating on the offensive line. Well, the great defenses have a 6, 7, maybe sometimes 8 deep rotation on the line, and players understand that. So for one D lineman to play 70 plays, 75 plays a game is tough, pass rush and run block. And so if you have the ability to roll in guys, and I'm not saying everybody's at the same level, we know they're not, but if you can roll in guys and the level doesn't drop off much, man, let me tell you what. And, we talk about when you have a 2-back system, sometimes does either of the backs kind of say, I want to carry the ball more. D-line, man, these guys don't mind rotating because they can stay fresh that way. And when you can come in with fresh legs, again, going against an old lineman who's playing 70, 75, 80, whatever, 65, whatever snaps it is, you want to have those fresh legs. So, man, a crowded D-line room where everybody is getting some burn, is a great thing. That is just, you got the guys on the sideline who are out the time cheering the guys on because you're going to get your shot. You're going to roll in and you're going to play. So even though they haven't been there and they're new guys, like you said, they're used to playing and they're used to having some time. So, man, having enough players to have that rotation where you're not losing, there's not a lot of fall off is huge. And then, what can you get from Von Miller? God, he goes to the Rams, does a great job. You're hoping you can keep getting, good pass rush from him, but he's obviously not an every down player. So it'll fit right into that situation of rotating in.
The guy, Mike, that is probably going to be under the microscope come training camp in the preseason more than anybody else is new offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. This has been a very successful offense under Brian Daboll. He picks up the torch now. And while people feel, they've got the continuity advantage. He's been here 3 years as the quarterback's coach. He's got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. How could you ask for anything more? He's got a standard to live up to, though, too, at the same time because of what this offense has done the last few years. So what is the best way for him to kind of navigate that? I know he's got to be himself, but there's a proven track record here that I think he's got to adhere to at least to some degree.
I think the big thing is he's been part of the proven track record, right? It's kind of like in New Orleans where, Sean Payton's gone, but they hired Doug Allen. So you keep the continuity of the coaching staff and the way you're running offense and defense. So I think that helps a lot. I think that's going to help here. He's been part of the success. He knows the success. Certainly he's going to put his stamp on it, his personality on it. I get it. But yeah, I mean, it's not like he's saying, okay, Daboll's gone, I'm here, now it's my way. Everybody would look at him like, are you freaking kidding me? You see what we've been doing? We've been doing pretty well. He's not going to do that. He gets it. He understands it. To me, the thing about this offense, and it could be tough in the fact that Josh Allen has to be Josh Allen. For a while there, when that rookie year, especially toward the end of the year when Josh was running a lot, and then you come into that second year and you're like, man, we can't have him run that much. You got to let Josh be Josh. And if that means running the ball run the ball. That's, and listen, you hold your breath when it happens, but if they're going to reach the top of the mountain and win that Super Bowl, it's obviously going to be with Josh standing in the pocket, passing, getting out of the pocket, passing, but running the ball as well, because he is a dangerous runner. And while you can mitigate it some, you can't take it away and can't say, we're going to protect Josh and just keep him in the pocket. You got to let him do his thing, because God knows he wants to do his thing. Like I said, it's not always the prettiest thing in the world. And like I said, you hold your breath when he takes a shot, but he's a big dude. But you got to make sure that part of the offense stays.
Yeah, and as we sit here in Buffalo, we know the team has been playing extremely well the last couple of years. Josh Allen's a superstar. He's one of those guys. And believe me, your guys at USA Football are gonna see the difference in that at the USA Football get-together this week in Highmark. There's going to be a lot of interest. We see it every day here on the show. And USA Football is going to, I think, benefit from that the way every NFL team does in its own city. Everybody's talking about it, and the expectations go along with it. Who's going to be the team the Bills have to cross over to get there this year?
Well, I mean, listen, you have kind of the Kansas City we always know is a team that's going to be there. You have Patrick Mahomes. I know you lose Tyreek Hill, but that's still going to be the team. I'm just first starting in the division. Patriots are really the only one I would think about there. That's if they take that next step forward. Obviously the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals, because again, and you guys know this, when you have that quarterback who's still on the rookie salary, you could build for a while. But, eventually they got to pay a lot of guys, including Burrow. But they have a couple of years, where they can bring guys in and pay them if they want before they got to pay their quarterback. And even when they have to pay their quarterback, it can be delayed, like Mahomes. When he signed that big deal, it didn't kick in for 2 years like it's going to kick in this year. So you have a little bit of time. So they're going to be a very dangerous team. I think probably one of the most dangerous teams. I would look at them. And then, I mean, the AFC West with Russell Wilson going to Denver. Boy, oh boy. I like the two-headed running attack they have there as well. The Raiders getting Devontae Adams, now being reunited with his former teammate and Carr. So, and the Chargers, I think, are on a big upswing as well. So that division could send 3 to the playoffs. So you got to look at that entire division. Anybody in the South, there's Tennessee. We know they're normally there, but they usually get stuck going only so far. I'd like to see what Matt Ryan's going to do with the Colts. I think that's going to be interesting. But I look at Cincinnati and basically the teams from the AFC West, starting with Kansas City.
Right.
Mike, thanks as always for the time. Good luck with the USA Football events this summer, including the one here in Buffalo on Sunday. We appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Thanks.